This is going to be the root cheat sheet, so please make sure you guys are filling this out before taking notes today. So we are going to find the square root and the cubed root of numbers. So before we do so, I just want to have you guys understand the square root. So square root, you don't usually see a 2 on the outside, okay? But you can put it there. And then cubed root is when you have a 3 on the outside. Now, I'm just going to focus right now on this example for square root. So this is where it comes from. So if I have an exponent, right, x squared, we should know that x squared means that we're really just doing x times x. Now, let's put a number. No, actually, I'll do without a number first. So if I'm going to take a square root when I have x squared, the square root will cancel out the exponent of x squared. So if those two canceled out, you're just left with x. Okay? So for example, say I have 4. I know 4 squared is really 4 times 4, which gives me 16. So 4 squared is 16. Now, if I take the square root of 4 squared, you remember how I said it cancels out that squared exponent? So then you're just really left with 4. So I can also look at it this way. I can look at it that, well, I know we just said that 4 squared is really 16, right? So I'm going to just change this color right here. So this is really 16. 4 squared is 16. So really what I'm doing is when I take the square root of 16, it is 4. Because we can write 16 as 4 squared, and that radical cancels the exponent. So that's kind of where it comes from. Okay, so now let's work on this sheet. So let's start with square root. So to find a square root, we're going to do 1 times 1, which is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. Next one, 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so pretty simple. Now cubed root, we're going to multiply by 3 times. So we have a 3 on the outside. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, so the cubed root of 1 is 1. Now for 2, we really have 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So the cubed root of 8 is 2. So make sure you have these down. I'm going to have to scroll down. When I scroll down, the stuff doesn't scroll with me, so I will have to erase in between. Okay, now moving on to number 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So square root of 9 is 3. 4 times 4 is 16. So square root of 16 is 4. 5 times 5 is 25. Therefore, the square root of 25 is 5. 6 times 6 is 36. Square root of 36 is 6. And 7 times 7 is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. If I'm going too fast, feel free to pause this video. Now, for cubed roots. Really what we're doing now, instead of multiplying that number by itself once, we're going to multiply that number, well, technically 2 times, right? That number and then times itself. And then for cubed root, we need to multiply 3 times. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Next one, we're going to do 4 times 4 is 16. And then we have to do 16 times 4, which gives us 64. Next one, we're going to do 5 times 5 times 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. Next one, we got to do 6 times 6 times 6. Well, 6 times 6 is 36. Times another 6, we get 216. And then 7 times 7 is 49. Times 7 is 343. Okay, so when we take the cube root of 27, our answer is 3. The cube root of 64, our answer is 4. The cube root of 125, our answer is 5. Cubed root of 216, our answer is 6. And cubed root of 343 is 7. So pause this video, write it down if you need to, because I'm going to erase and we're going to move on. Okay, now we're going to move on to more numbers. Okay, next one, we have 8. Squared means we're multiplying it twice. So 8 times 8 is 64. So therefore, then the square root of 64 is 8. 9 times 9 is 81. Square root of 81 is 9. 10 times 10 is 100. So square root of 100 is 10. 11 times 11 is 121. So if I take the square root of 121, I get 11. 12 times 12 is 144. So square root of 144 is 12. Now, cubed root. I need to multiply it 3 times. So 8 times 8 is 64. Times 8 is 512. Next one, 9 times 9 is 81. Times 9 is 729. Okay, next one, 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1000. Next one, we have 11 times 11 is 121. Times 11, we have 1,331. And then the next one, we did 12 times 12, which is 144. Times 12, we have 1,728. So again, make sure you jot these down so we can erase and finish the rest. Okay, moving on. Just have a few left. 13, 14, 15. Those are our last ones. So we could do 13 times 13 is 169. So if we square root that, we're going to get 13. And our next one, we got to do 14 times 14, which is 196. Take the square root of that, and that equals 14. And our last one is 15 times 15, which is 225. Square root of 225 is 15. Now we just have to take the cubed roots of something to get 13. So in order to do so, we're going to do 13 times 13 is 169 times another 13. Get 2,197. Next, we have the cubed root of what gives me 14. I'm going to multiply 14 3 times, so 14 times 14 times another 14. 2,744. Okay, last one, cubed root. We're going to do 15 times 15, which is 225, times another 15. I get 3,375. So again, make sure this sheet is filled out because you will need to use it for your notes.